Hello, everybody. Raphael once again. And today I'm going to be ranting and doing a review on the 2006 movie The Ant Bully, which was created by John A. Davis, the same John A. Davis who created Jimmy Neutron. And it's not created from Steve Odekirk. So you got Nicolas Cage, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep, and Paul Giamatti. Also, you got Rob Paulson, and can't actually remember the other cast, but yeah, The Ant Bully from 2006. Now, I think this movie's okay. Like, it's not the best. I think it's just okay. I'll give it probably a 7 out of 10 or probably 2 out of 10. I mean, it's not the best movie. I never really cared for The Ant Bully. I don't think this movie is charming or funny, but the animation looks kind of stiffy or kind of ugly in my opinion. But just I said, this was created by John A. Davis with DNA Productions, and this was also produced by Warner Brothers and Legendary, which okay, well, so this is a Warner Brothers movie. So I can't really remember the other cast, but I like Nicolas Cage. Like, I'm a fan of Nicolas Cage. Like, I've seen National Treasure, and he was in the movie Next, and he's been in a ton of stuff. Nicolas Cage, Julia Roberts, Julia Roberts. It's a little weird that she's in this movie. I remember. She was in Aaron Brockheive back in 2000. And she's been in a couple stuff too. She's been in a couple of movies. And Rob Paulson, he voices Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he also voices Carl Weezer from Jimmy Neutron. And he voiced many characters like Pinky in the Brain, and he does other voices. I think he voiced the chicken from Barnyard. I remember. I don't really remember anything about Rob Paulson, but he has done a lot of voice work throughout his time. So this movie is kind of like a rip off of both A Bug's Life and Ants. Like, Disney Pixar's A Bug's Life back in 1998, and Ants from 1990. Actually, Ants and A Bug's Life, they actually came out the same year in 1998. I think A Bug's Life is better because I really didn't care for Ants. I think Ants is kind of cliche. I would rather watch A Bug's Life than Ants, or I'd rather watch A Bug's Life than The Ant Bully. I mean, I heard that this was the reason why Jimmy Neutron did not get a season 4 because of this. Because I heard The Ant Bully was a box office failure or a box office flop, which means that it didn't do well at the box office and it didn't make success. Like, I thought the writing was okay. But, I almost forgot to mention, this was also directed by Tom Hanks, which we all know Tom Hanks. He voices Woody from Toy Story, and he's been in a couple movies like Forrest Gump, Big, Philadelphia, Saving Mr. Banks, stuff like that. And I'm surprised that Tom Hanks is actually the director. I don't know, maybe he's the director because I checked on Wikipedia, it says Tom Hanks. So I guess I think I kind of remember, like, The Ant Bully was based on a book, and I heard that Tom Hanks would read it to his kids, like read it to his children, like every night or something. Like, this was based on a storybook, and I guess this is kind of like the adaptation of the book. I think the animation, like I said, it's just butt ugly. It kind of looks like Jimmy Neutron animation because of probably DNA Productions. Yes, because DNA Productions made this film. and Tom Hanks was involved with this. Okay, I didn't know this was. I didn't know that this was. This was from Tom Hanks, because Tom Hanks, I really like the guy. He's been a couple of stuff, and the Ant Bully was not good in my opinion. I think the humor isn't that great. The characters are uninteresting, and this is basically this is really different than Ants in Bug Life. I mean, A Bug's Life. Like, you know how the ants from A Bug's Life, they capture food, and then the hopper comes, and the grasshoppers come in, and they eat the food of the ants. And then you got Ants from 1998. I don't really know anything about Ants, but I heard that Sylvester Stallone was in that movie. I never cared for Ants, but I know a lot about A Bug's Life. I used to watch that when I was a kid. I mean, this has nothing to do with this movie, The Ant Bully. It has nothing to do with A Bug's Life. Like, I think it's a ripoff of The Bug's Life, and even Ants, which I'm not a fan of. Like I said, I know I said this before, but I would rather watch Pixar's A Bug's Life, with A Bug's Life, than The Ant Bully. And A Bug's Life, they had Kevin Spacey, and Kevin Spacey. I think I remember him. And you have other casts joined in with A Bug's Life, but this, I don't think so. This movie shouldn't exist. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think this movie should exist in the first place, because DNA Productions was already making success with the success of Jimmy Neutron, the movie and the TV series on Nickelodeon. Like, this is not a Nickelodeon movie. This is a Warner Brothers movie. And what's weird about this movie is this was not also created by Steve Odekirk. Which Steve Odekirk, I heard that he made movies like The Kung Pao Into the Fist and The Nutty Professor and Ace Ventrella, the Ace Ventrella movies with Jim Carrey, and of course he did Jimmy Neutron and Barnyard. I never cared for Barnyard, but I think I'll talk about that next. But The Ant Bully, this should have been. It could have the potential to be interesting, but I just didn't find anything funny about The Ant Bully. I heard that there was a video game on the Wii for The Ant Bully, but I'm not going to play that. And I don't really care about the movie. This doesn't deserve a franchise. I mean, everybody is kind of wasted in this movie. Nicolas Cage and Meryl Streep, which I'm kind of a fan of Meryl Streep. And Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti, my goodness, he was in Big Fat Liar. He did a good job in Big Fat Liar. And he was in the Big Mama's House movie with Martin Lawrence. He does a good job in that. He's been in a couple stuff about Paul Giamatti. I think Paul Giamatti does a good job as the character from the Big Fat Liar with Amanda Bynes, which I thought it was pretty funny. It's more funnier than this movie. I mean, this has fart jokes in this movie. That has fart jokes, pee jokes, just jokes that are cliche. I mean, you got one scene where the kid, Lucas, or Peanut, as he likes to be called, Lucas, he eats some kind of honeydew, like they call it honeydew. And then he eats it, and he finds out that it came from the slug's butt. Like the slug, it poops out honeydew, and he throws up and he burps. Like, I thought that was not funny. I don't think it was just so cliche. And then the kid gets eaten by a frog, and Rob Paulson's talking to him. And also, this is okay. Let me get to the premise. So this is about Lucas, who gets bullied by a couple of bulliers, saying, "You're big and I'm small," whatever he said. And then he takes it out on the ant colony. Like, he destroys the ants with the water hose. And then he destroys the ants. Destroyed everything. And they call him Peanut the Destroyer. So Nicolas Cage, he comes in, and then he has this potion so that he can shrink the kid And another thing, Lucas's parents, I don't really care for his parents. I think his parents are I mean, Larry Miller plays Lucas's father. Larry Miller, he was in a couple of movies from what I actually know. I don't actually remember anything about Larry Miller. All I know is that he was in the Nutty Professor, the two Nutty Professor movies, as he plays Buddy Love's, not Buddy Love's, but Professor Clump's dean, Larry Miller. I'm like, why is he in this movie? Why is he in this movie? Oh man. And then you got Bruce Campbell, which I don't really know anything about Bruce Campbell, but I heard he was a good actor, but he's wasted in this movie. And then you got Regina King or Regina Hall. She was the voice of both the brothers from the Boondocks, Riley and forget what his brother's name is, but the Boondocks. She was in a couple of stuff too. Enemy of the State, Daddy Daycare, other stuff that she's been in. Regina King. I think she did a good job as the aunt, but I just found her sassy. We're not gonna get into that. So, yeah, the plot is about the kid, Lucas. He takes it out on others. Sorry, he takes it out on the ants, and then the ants are pissed at him, and then Nicolas Cage puts a potion in his ear, and then he shrinks. And then the grandma, I never cared for the grandma. He saw Lucas, I don't really care for the grandma. Let's just skip to that. And then he comes, Lucas, he starts bullying all the ants, calling them stupid ants, and then Meryl Streep, who she played as the queen of the ant colony, says that Lucas should be an ant in order for him to go home. And also the cliche that I found out that I wasn't interested in is cross your heart, not your butt. Like, Julia Roberts crosses her butt instead of her heart. Like, that's not funny. I didn't find that funny. Again, the animation looks ugly or okay. Like, I've watched this movie, like, I remember watching this movie long time ago, like it used to be on television, and I watched it recently, and I watched it 2 years ago. That was on Tubi TV. Like, that movie was in Tubi TV, and watching it again, I don't really care for the ant bully. John A. Davis. I don't really know anything about John A. Davis. John A. Davis, like I said, his production company, DNA Productions, and he was the creator of Jimmy Neutron back in the day. I don't think this movie made success, in my opinion. Like, this movie shouldn't exist. I know a lot of people did not like the movie. I mean, there's some reviews about that movie for so many times in so many of these YouTube videos. I heard a lot of people would not like. I heard a lot of people did not like this movie because of the jokes, the fart jokes. The dialogue wasn't that interesting. The characters, I don't give a fuck about. Everything about the ant bully is just full of waste. It should be 0 out of 10 because this is the reason why it had a low percent on IMDb, and there's a freaking reason for that, because this movie did not do well at the theaters. Like, this kind of looks like it could be directed video, but I thought this was going to be in directed video, but it was at the theaters. It went into the theaters. I thought this was going to be directed video due to the animation, because the animation kind of looks like it could be on directed video, or the animation looks cheap, like how the characters look and everything. Like, it looks cheap. Now, I think Norm of the North is worse than this movie. Like, I will put Norm of the North, one of the worst movies category. I think this is worse than the Ant Bully. The Ant Bully is not too bad, but I mean, the Ant Bully isn't too bad. I mean, it tried to have potential. It tried to have a story, like it has a lesson where you shouldn't make fun of people's sizes. And Paul Giamatti, he plays the inspector, the ant inspector. I can't remember where he played at. But Paul Giamatti, he plays the bad guy. He's the bad guy in this movie because he's trying to destroy the ant colony and kill all the ants. And also, at the finale, where it was kind of disturbing, where the fly got his butt, and then the fly stung his butt, and he becomes shrink, like he was shrinking, and then the bees went after him. Like, Paul Giamatti, I think he did a good job a little bit. Like, Paul Giamatti, I think he's funny. I think Paul Giamatti, I would give him as, I think Paul Giamatti's funny, but that doesn't save the movie. I mean, this has nothing to do with Jimmy Neutron, honestly. I mean, this movie's different. I think it's kind of similar to Jimmy Neutron because, Jimmy gets bullied by Cindy, and then you got Lucas being bullied by bulliers, his friends. I would rather watch Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. The movie from 2001. That movie actually got released after 9/11, because 9/11, like September of 9/11, like I would rather watch that. I would rather watch Jimmy Neutron because it has more creativity, it had a story, it had a plot, it had a plot twist to it, and it had good characters, interesting dialogue and everything. But the Ant Bully, and Jimmy Neutron doesn't have any fart jokes. Well, some fart jokes in the series, but this movie has fart jokes, and I'm not really a fan of fart jokes. Okay, not a fan of fart jokes at all. Not a fan of them. I mean, I know a couple movies had that. The Shaggy Dog had that. Daddy Daycare. I mean, sorry. Yeah, I think Daddy Daycare had that. Yeah, with Eddie Murphy. And Daddy Daycare was a failure. The Dr. Dolittle movies with Eddie Murphy. These types of movies have fart jokes. I mean, when you watch a family film, it's gonna have fart jokes, because kids love fart jokes, basically. I mean, The Ant Bully is like a children's film. It's a family children's film. Yes, because it's PG. What do you expect? Or it's G. I don't know. Maybe it's PG, maybe it's G. Who cares? I'm kind of done talking about The Ant Bully. The Ant Bully, it's not the best. I don't really like this movie. Okay, which is it? Which is my choice? Is it the best? Do I think it's okay? Yep. I think this is the bottom of the barrel for the DNA animation. I mean, this was the reason why, Jimmy Neutron did not have a season 4. The Ant Bully. The Ant Bully, it's not a great film. It really isn't. I mean, I'm kind of want to blame Tom Hanks for this. Like, Tom Hanks, out of all people, what were you thinking, Tom Hanks? I mean, just because you read a story to your children and it was based on a book doesn't mean you had to make it into a computer animation movie. I mean, Tom Hanks, John A. Davis. Why would you join with John A. Davis? I don't understand. I mean, this movie didn't do well. This is the reason why Jimmy Neutron did not. Like I said, this movie didn't do well. I didn't care for the Ant Bully. Like, there's no wit, no dialogue, nothing creative. Like, it's a bland film. Well, I wouldn't say a bland film. Like, it tried to have a story. It tried to have a lesson that you should not bully bully people even though that they're short. Like, to be honest, I'm a short person, so I can kind of relate to the ant bully because I'm short and everybody bullies because of my size and everything. Like, okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, that's a good message. But like I said, that doesn't save the movie. The animation looks ugly. I know I keep repeating myself, but this movie shouldn't exist in the first place. That's all I gotta say about the ant bully. I thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Have a nice day.